All right, today we're going to be talking about how to graph linear equations by using a table. So our steps are, first we're going to make a table, an XY table. Then we're going to pick 4 points for X's. Then we're going to solve each for Y. Then we will plot the points on a graph and then draw a straight line. Those are the different steps that we're going to go ahead and use. So let's take a look at an example. All right, so we want to graph Y equals 3x minus 4. So we're going to make a table and pick 4 X values. So I made an XY table and I just picked 4 X values. Now you can pick whatever X values you want. There is some times where it's important to pick a certain type, and I'll get to that type at the end. But you can pick usually whatever. So I just tried -1, 0, 1, and 2. So I'm going to go ahead and plug those in. So I started with my -1 here, and notice 3 times -1 minus 4. So I'm just plugging them in for X and solving for Y. So these are really easy. -3 times -1 is -3, minus 4 is -7. And then I'm going to put -7 here in for the Y. And then I'm going to try 0 in, and I put 0 in and solve, and I get -4. And then I put 1 in, and I get -1, and I put 2 in and get 2. So then I go ahead and take my table here that I have all these different points in, and I plot it on my graph. So I go -1, -7, which is down here, and I make my first dot. And then 0, -4, and make a dot. And 1, -1, and make a dot. And 2, 2. Oh, I'm a little off here, but 2, 2 would be right here. And I then connect all the dots all in a row. Now, if one of my dots is not in the correct spot, I want to go back and check that work on that problem because I probably did that one problem wrong. So like if I had, instead of -4 here, I had a -3, I'd go back to that problem here, this one right here, and check my work. So I only go back to that one problem that I did. That way I know all 4 of these dots should make a nice, neat line going in a row. All right, let's take a look at another one. So Y equals 2x plus 2. So again, we're going to pick some points. Now they picked 5, and that's fine. You can always pick more. And they made just kind of a bigger table here. So -2, 2 times -2 plus 2. They didn't show all their work here and just got -2. So that's our first order pair. Then they got 0, then 2, then 4, then 6. And then once you have all these points, you go ahead and plot them. Boom, 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 boom. And notice how they make a nice, neat line. And you play connect the dots. And that's how we go ahead and do this. Now, occasionally they might be in a different form. They might be like this one. Well, that's okay. Again, you start off with going ahead and taking your points here, -1, 0, 1, and 2. And then I'm going to solve each of them. So here I have 4, -1, minus Y equals 4, and 4 times 0. I'm going to do 2 of them at a time here. And then that's -4, and this is just 0. So I'm going to add 4 to both sides. And I get -Y, it's still negative, equals 8. This I got to move the 0 over. That doesn't do anything, so -Y equals 4. And if it's -Y, I'm going to divide by -1 or switch the signs. And Y equals -8, and Y equals -4. So those are 2 of my numbers. Then I can put 1 in and I can put 2 in. And notice again, I'm just solving for Y. So it's 4 minus Y and 8 minus Y. Move the 4 over, I get 0. Move the 8 over, I get -4. And it's negative, so I flip it over and Y equals 0 and Y equals 4. So I fill out my table and then I make my points. -1, -8 is down here, make my dot. 0, -4, make my dot. 1, 0, and then 1, 4, or 2, 4. And I can go ahead and make my line accordingly. All right, a couple more just to try. All right, this one here, notice the 5Y here. This last one that we had just had a -Y, so it didn't matter. When I have a 5Y, when I have something in front of Y like this, you want to go ahead and pick your X's as multiples of 5. So I did -5, 0, 5, and 10. It's going to make your problems a lot easier. Otherwise, you're going to get all kinds of fractions, and nobody wants those. All right. So if your Y has a number in front of it, choose a multiple of those numbers in order to make the problem a little bit easier. So I put in -5, which gives us -10. Add 10 to the other side, so that gives me 20. Divided by 5 is 4. Put in a 0. That's just 0. Move the 0 over. Divide by 5, and we get 2. Here we get 10 plus 5y. Subtract 10 gives me 0. So y equals 0. And here we get 20. Subtract 20. It gives me negative 10. Divided by 5 is negative 2. So now I put in all those different points. Plot them. Negative 5, comma 4. 2, 0, comma 2. 5, comma 0. And 10, comma negative 2. And again, they all line up in a nice, neat line. So this graph is obviously going to be bigger because of my numbers here, but that's okay. They're good numbers. If you tried negative 1, negative 2, look at what negative 1 is. Negative 1 is like 2.1 or 2.2. You don't want to deal with those kind of fractions. All right. And then one last one, a multiple choice one. Graph this one. So I started with my 0. So I put that in there. I got y equals 3. So 0, 3, that's possible. 0, 2, this one's not good. So I can cross off A and cross off B. So it's either C or D. So I tried my 1, and I got y equals 0. Well, this one has 1, 0. This one has 1, 1.5. So that's not the same. So my answer has to be D. I didn't have to go through all of them because 2 gave me enough. And that's what I have for you today.